The wedding ring should have come off first. Amora knew this as she stood in their bedroom, his bedroom now, she supposed, staring at the platinum band that had lived on her finger for 2 years. 2 years of promises that turned out to be lies. 2 years of loving a man who was loving someone else. Her suitcase lay open on the bed, half-packed with clothes she'd grabbed randomly from the closet. Nothing matched. She didn't care. Matching outfits didn't matter when your entire life was falling apart. The ring caught the afternoon light, throwing tiny rainbows across her hand. Beautiful. Expensive. Meaningless. She should take it off. Leave it on his nightstand with the divorce papers her lawyer had couriered over that morning. Clean break. That's what her sister kept saying. Make it clean, Amora. Don't drag this out. But her fingers wouldn't cooperate. Every time she reached to twist it off, her hand froze. Pathetic. She was pathetic for still wearing the ring of a man who'd been photographed leaving a hotel with another woman 3 days ago. The images had been texted to her anonymously. Crystal clear shots of Minute-Ho's hand on the small of some beautiful stranger's back, guiding her into a black car at 2 in the morning. The same hand that had slid this ring onto her finger while he promised to forsake all others. Liar. Amora grabbed another handful of clothes from the dresser, not bothering to fold them. Her vision blurred with tears she refused to let fall. She'd cried enough over the past 72 hours. Cried until her eyes were swollen and her throat was raw, and her sister physically confiscated her phone to stop her from texting him. Not that he'd responded anyway. Minute-Ho had been handling business in Busan for the past week. Or so he'd claimed. Busan was only 2 hours away, but apparently too far for him to come home even once. Too far for him to answer her calls. Too far for him to notice his wife was falling apart. Just close enough to meet his mistress at a hotel. Her hands shook as she zipped the suitcase closed. 1 bag. That's all she was taking. Everything else could rot here in this penthouse that had started feeling like a prison 6 months ago. Back when Minute-Ho started coming home later and later, smelling like perfume that wasn't hers, making excuses that were getting progressively weaker. You don't understand the pressure I'm under. This deal is crucial for the family's future. Stop being paranoid, Amora. You're imagining things. Except she hadn't been imagining things. The photos proved it. She grabbed her purse and the manila envelope containing divorce papers her lawyer had prepared with impressive speed. Apparently, when you're married to one of Korea's most powerful crime lords, lawyers work overtime to help you escape. The ring glinted again as she reached for her suitcase handle. Take it off. Just take it off. Her fingers brushed the band but didn't pull. Couldn't pull. Ridiculous, she muttered, grabbing the suitcase instead. She'd take it off later. In the car. At her sister's apartment. Somewhere that didn't smell like Minute-Ho's cologne and broken promises. The penthouse was quiet as she walked through it one last time. Their home, the space they'd decorated together, fought in, made love in, built a life in. Every corner held memories she needed to burn out of her brain. The kitchen where he'd taught her to make his grandmother's Kim Kai recipe. The living room where they'd spent Sundays tangled on the couch watching terrible movies. The balcony where he'd proposed, the entire Seoul skyline glittering behind him as he knelt with that ring. You're my forever, Amora. My only. More lies. She made it to the foyer, her heels clicking against marble that probably cost more than most people's cars. Everything in this place screamed wealth and power and Minute-Ho's complete control over his world. Everything except her. She was the one variable he couldn't manage, couldn't manipulate, couldn't keep locked down. Not anymore. Her hand was on the doorknob when she heard it. The elevator ding that announced someone's arrival on their private floor. No. Her heart slammed against her ribs. He wasn't supposed to be back until tomorrow. The photos were from last night. He should still be in Busan with her. The elevator doors slid open. Minute-Ho stepped out, and Amora's traitorous body reacted the way it always did. Pulse quickening, breath catching, every nerve ending suddenly aware of his presence. He looked exhausted, his usually perfect hair disheveled, his suit wrinkled like he'd slept in it. Or not slept at all. His dark eyes locked on her immediately, then dropped to the suitcase at her side. Something flickered across his face, surprise, then understanding, then something harder, dangerous, going somewhere. His voice was rough, controlled in that way that meant he was anything but. Amora lifted her chin. Moving out. I left the divorce papers on your desk. She watched his jaw tighten, watched his hands flex at his sides. That muscle in his cheek jumped, the one that always betrayed his anger no matter how calm he tried to appear. We need to talk. We really don't. She turned the doorknob. I think the photos said everything. What photos? The confusion in his voice sounded genuine, almost believable. But Amora had learned the hard way that Minute Ho was an excellent liar when he needed to be. The ones of you and your girlfriend leaving that hotel in Busan. Her voice cracked despite her best efforts. Don't insult me by denying it. Minute Ho went very still. That predatory stillness that made everyone in his world nervous. Show me. Why? So you can come up with a better excuse. She yanked the door open. I'm done, Minute Ho. Done with the lies. Done with being second choice. Done with this marriage. She stepped forward. He moved faster, his hand slamming against the door above her head, forcing it shut with enough force to make her jump. You're not leaving. His voice was deadly quiet now, his body caging hers against the door. Not until you show me these photos and tell me who sent them. Amora's pulse hammered in her throat. This close, she could smell him, cologne and exhaustion and something metallic that might have been blood. Her resolve wavered for half a second before anger crashed back in. Move. Show me the photos first. I don't owe you anything. She shoved at his chest, but he didn't budge. Solid muscle and immovable will. Least of all an explanation for why I'm leaving my cheating husband. I'm not cheating on you. Each word was bitten off, sharp with frustration. I have never cheated on you. I would never. Then explain the hotel. She finally looked up at him, meeting those dark eyes that used to make her feel safe. Explain why you were photographed with another woman at 2 a.m. Explain the perfume on your clothes, the late nights, the ignored calls. Explain any of it, Minute Ho, because I'm dying to hear what creative story you've come up with. Something shifted in his expression. Guilt? No, it looked more like resignation. Like he'd been caught and knew there was no way out. Her heart cracked wider. It's not what you think, he said finally. That's what every cheater says right before they confirm it's exactly what you think. She ducked under his arm, putting distance between them. Her suitcase scraped against the marble as she grabbed it again. I'm leaving. Don't follow me. Amora. We're done. She reached for the door again, tears burning hot behind her eyes. Sign the papers or don't. I don't care anymore. His hand caught her wrist, gentle but firm. Look at your hand. What? Look. At. Your. Hand. Confused, Amora followed his gaze downward. Her left hand, the one he was holding. The one with the platinum band still wrapped around her fourth finger, catching the light like a tiny beacon. You're still wearing my ring, Minute Ho said quietly. Her stomach dropped. In all the chaos of packing, all the crying and rage and heartbreak, she'd forgotten. The ring she'd meant to remove first was still there, still claiming her as his. She tried to pull her hand back, but he held firm. I forgot. I'll take it off right now. Will you? He turned her hand over, his thumb brushing across the band. Because you've been planning this exit for at least 3 days, Amora. You had divorce papers drawn up. You packed your things. You waited until you thought I'd be gone to make your escape. But you didn't take off the ring. It doesn't mean anything. Doesn't it? His other hand came up to cup her face, forcing her to meet his eyes. You can lie to yourself, but don't lie to me. If you were really done, truly finished with this marriage, that ring would have been the first thing to go. She hated that he was right. Hated the treacherous part of her heart that couldn't let go even when her brain knew she should. Hated the tears spilling down her cheeks now, hot and humiliating. You cheated on me, she whispered. The ring doesn't change that. I didn't cheat. His jaw clenched. But I did lie to you. And I'm sorry. The admission hit like a physical blow. She'd expected denial, excuses, anger. Not this quiet confession that made everything worse because it confirmed her worst fears. Get away from me. She wrenched herself backward, stumbling against her suitcase. Just, get away. The woman in those photos is Agent Park Ji-hyun from the National Intelligence Service. Minute Ho didn't move closer, but his voice followed her. She's been working undercover in the Busan Kim family for 6 months, and I've been her contact point. Amora froze. What? The NIS approached me 8 months ago. They wanted intel on the Kim's human trafficking operation. He ran a hand through his already disheveled hair. I agreed to help on the condition that my involvement stayed completely secret. That meant lying to you about where I was going, who I was meeting, why I couldn't come home. Her mind raced, trying to process this. You're working with the government. I'm trying to take down a trafficking ring that's been operating out of Busan for 3 years. His voice was flat, factual. Agent Park needed emergency extraction 3 nights ago. Her cover was compromised. I got her out of the Kim compound and into a safe house. The hotel you saw in those photos. That's... Amora pressed her hands to her temples. That's convenient. Really convenient timing for this explanation. It's the truth. The truth you conveniently couldn't share until I caught you. She laughed bitterly. Do you have any idea how insane this sounds? I know exactly how it sounds. He pulled out his phone, tapping the screen a few times before holding it out to her. That's Agent Park's official NIS credentials. That's the operation brief with my name listed as Asset 17. That's a message from Deputy Director Cho thanking me for Park's successful extraction. Amara stared at the screen, her vision blurring as she tried to read through tears. The documents looked official, government seals, classified stamps, formal language. But documents could be faked, especially by someone with Minute-Ho's resources and connections. You could have forged all of this, she said, but her voice wavered with uncertainty now. I could have. He pocketed the phone. But I didn't. Call Deputy Director Cho yourself if you don't believe me. His direct line is in my contacts under Cho SC. Why should I believe anything you say? Because, his voice finally cracked, that iron control slipping. Because I'm standing here begging you not to leave instead of just letting you go. Because I've spent 3 days in hell knowing those photos were out there but unable to explain without compromising an active operation. Because you're still wearing my ring even though you think I betrayed you. The words hung between them, raw and desperate. Amora had never heard Minute-Ho sound like this, unguarded, almost broken. The man who commanded empires and inspired fear in Korea's underworld was looking at her like she held his entire world in her hands. Maybe she did. You lied to me for 8 months, she said quietly. 8 months of thinking I was losing my mind. Of feeling like you were slipping away and not knowing why. Do you have any idea what that did to me? I know. He took a careful step closer. I saw it happening and I couldn't stop it. Couldn't explain. Every time you asked where I was going, every time you noticed the perfume or the late nights, I wanted to tell you everything. But the operation was more important than our marriage. Was the only way I could live with myself. His hands curled into fists at his sides. Those girls they are trafficking, Amora, some of them are 14 years old. Stolen from their families, sold to the highest bidder, destroyed before they are old enough to vote. I couldn't just ignore that. Not when I had the power to help stop it. Amora closed her eyes. Of course. Of course he'd been doing something noble and self-sacrificing and completely reckless. That was Minute-Ho, the man who'd built a criminal empire but still had lines he wouldn't cross, codes he wouldn't break. You could have told me, she whispered. I would have understood. Could I have? He moved closer again, close enough that she could feel his body heat. You would have worried every time I left. Would have known I was walking into Kim territory where one wrong move could get me killed. I was trying to protect you from that fear. So you let me think you were having an affair instead. She opened her eyes, meeting his gaze. You thought that was better. No, the admission was immediate. I thought I could finish the operation before you noticed. Before the distance between us became permanent. I was an idiot. Yes, you were. She swiped at her tears angrily. A noble, self-sacrificing, incredibly stupid idiot. I'm sorry. He reached for her hand again, the one with the ring. I'm so sorry, Amora. For the lies, for the pain, for making you doubt us. If I could go back and handle this differently. But you can't. She looked down at their joined hands. The damage is done. Then let me fix it. His thumb stroked across her knuckles. Give me a chance to earn back your trust. I'll tell you everything from now on. Every meeting, every operation, every risk. No more secrets. You can't promise that. Your world doesn't work that way. Then I'll change how my world works. His free hand tilted her chin up. You're more important than any operation, any deal, any alliance. I should have realized that 8 months ago. Amara wanted to believe him. God, she wanted to so badly it physically hurt. But trust wasn't something you could just switch back on after it had been shattered. Who sent the photos? She asked suddenly. If Agent Park was really just an extraction, who took pictures and sent them to me? Minute Ho's expression darkened. I have theories. The Busan Kims would love to destabilize me by destroying my marriage. Or it could be someone inside my own organization who wants me distracted and vulnerable. So we're targets now, because you decided to play hero. We've always been targets. I'm a high-ranking member of one of Korea's most powerful crime families. His grip on her hand tightened. But yes, this operation has made things more complicated, more dangerous, which is another reason I kept you in the dark. Plausible deniability if things went wrong. I don't want plausible deniability. Her voice rose with frustration. I want honesty. I want partnership. I want to feel like your wife instead of some fragile thing you need to protect and manage. You're right. He pulled her closer, until their bodies were nearly touching. You deserve better than what I've given you. Better than the lies and distance and half-truths. I didn't know how to be both things at once. Your husband and the man doing what needed to be done. So you chose the operation. I chose wrong. His forehead dropped to hers. I chose wrong and I've been paying for it every day. Sleeping alone, seeing you pull further away, knowing I was destroying us but unable to stop. The night you stopped reaching for me in bed, I wanted to confess everything. But I was in too deep by then. Amora's breath caught. She remembered that night, 3 months ago, when she'd finally stopped trying to bridge the gap between them. Stopped initiating affection he seemed too tired or distracted to return. It had felt like giving up. Maybe it had been. The operation, she said carefully. Is it over? Park's extraction was the final phase. She got the evidence we needed, financial records, client lists, shipping routes. The NIS is coordinating with international agencies now for simultaneous raids. He paused. It'll go public within a week. My involvement will stay classified, but the Kims will know. There will be retaliation. Against you. Against us. His hands framed her face. Which is why I need to know. Are you really leaving? Because if you are, I need to arrange protection. The Kims can't know we're separated or they'll see you as an easier target. Her heart twisted at the practicality in his voice. Even now, even with their marriage crumbling, he was thinking about her safety first. I don't know, she admitted. I don't know if I can just forgive 8 months of lies because you had good reasons. I'm not asking for forgiveness yet. He kissed her forehead gently. I'm asking you to take off that suitcase. Stay tonight. Let me show you every piece of evidence, every communication, every detail I should have shared from the beginning. Then decide if I'm worth a second chance. Amara stared at him, her mind warring with her heart. The logical part of her brain screamed that staying was stupid, that liars didn't change, that broken trust couldn't be repaired with one night of explanations. But the part of her that still wore his ring, the part that had hesitated at the door, whispered something different. One night, she said finally. You get one night to convince me this marriage is worth saving. Relief flooded his features, so profound it almost brought fresh tears to her eyes. One night. That's all I'm asking. He reached for her suitcase, but she pulled it back. I'll keep this packed. Just in case. Fair enough. He stepped aside, giving her space to move back into the penthouse. Into the home she'd been ready to abandon 5 minutes ago. This was insane. She was insane for even considering this. But her feet carried her toward the living room anyway, the suitcase wheels clicking against marble like a countdown timer. One night. She could give him that much. If only to get real answers instead of spending the rest of her life wondering if she'd walked away from the truth. Minute Ho followed at a careful distance, like she was a spooked animal that might bolt at any sudden movement. Smart man. Do you want tea? Coffee? Something stronger? He asked. Answers. She sat on the edge of the couch, spine straight, hands folded in her lap. The ring felt heavy suddenly. Conspicuous. Start from the beginning. Don't leave anything out. He nodded, moving to the bar cart and pouring 2 glasses of whiskey anyway. When he handed her one, their fingers brushed. That familiar electric current jumped between them. The one that had been there since the night they met. The one that made walking away so impossibly hard. Amora took the glass but didn't drink. Just waited. Minute Ho sat across from her, maintaining distance. 8 months ago, I was contacted by Deputy Director Cho Sung Minute of the NIS. He knew about my family's operations, knew I had connections in Busan through business dealings with the Kims. He also knew, he paused, choosing words carefully. He knew that despite my position, I have certain moral lines. The trafficking, Amora said quietly. Yes. His jaw tightened. The Kims have been running girls through the Busan port for 3 years. Young girls, mostly from Southeast Asia and Eastern Europe. The NIS had been trying to infiltrate for 18 months with no success. The family is too insular, too paranoid. They needed someone the Kims already trusted. You. Me. He took a long drink. Cho offered me immunity for my family's operations in exchange for cooperation. It was a good deal, too good to refuse. But more than that, it was the right thing to do. Amora studied his face. She'd always known Minute-ho existed in moral gray areas. You didn't rise in his world by being purely good. But she'd also seen his limits, the lines he drew. Children were always a line. What did they need you to do? Increase my business dealings with the Kims. Attend more meetings in Busan. Get close enough to their inner circle that Agent Park could be introduced as my new assistant without raising suspicion. He set down his glass. She posed as my business consultant for 6 months, gathering evidence during meetings I arranged with Kim leadership. The late nights, Amora said, pieces clicking together. The Busan trips. Yes, every business dinner was actually a strategic meeting. Every overnight trip was surveillance work with Park. The perfume you smelled, he grimaced. Park wore heavy perfume as part of her cover. Said it made men underestimate her intelligence, made her seem frivolous. It transferred to my clothes during briefings. It made horrible sense. All of it. The explanation fit every suspicious detail that had been eating away at her for months. Why couldn't you tell me? The question came out smaller than she intended. Even just that you were working with the NIS. You didn't have to give me details. Because the moment you knew, you became a liability. His voice was gentle but firm. Not because I don't trust you. I trust you with my life. But if the Kims suspected anything, if they questioned you, tortured you for information. He stopped, throat working. I couldn't risk that. Couldn't risk them using you against me. So you let me think the worst instead. I made a choice. He leaned forward, elbows on his knees. A choice to protect the operation and protect you, even if it meant hurting you in the process. I told myself it was temporary, that I'd explain everything once it was over and you'd understand. And then the photos arrived. 3 days ago. Same day Park's cover was blown. His hands curled into fists. The Kims discovered her real identity. There was a leak somewhere. We still don't know where. She barely got out alive. I had to extract her from a compound surrounded by armed guards who were actively hunting for a spy. Amora's breath caught. You could have been killed. Several times over. A bitter smile crossed his face. The hotel was the closest safe house. I got her there, waited until NIS backup arrived, then had to disappear back into normal life like nothing happened. All while knowing someone had photographed us together and would almost certainly use those images against me. Who? The Kims are the obvious choice. Discredit me before the raids happen. Make me look weak and distracted by personal drama. But, he hesitated. There's a chance it's someone inside my own organization. Someone who wants me destabilized or removed. You have enemies in your own family. I always have. He reached across the space between them, his hand hovering near hers. Power breeds enemies, Amora. You know this. She did know. Had known it since the day she agreed to marry into his world. Slowly, she placed her hand in his. His fingers closed around hers immediately, warm and solid and achingly familiar. Show me, she said. Show me everything you promised. Minute-ho pulled out his phone, unlocking it before handing it to her. My messages with Deputy Director Cho. Start from 8 months ago and read forward. Amora took the phone, scrolling through months of encrypted communications. Meeting coordinates. Status updates. Warnings about Kim family movements. Progress reports on Park's intelligence gathering. And woven through it all, Minute-ho's repeated requests for timeline updates, asking when the operation would conclude so he could fix things at home. Her throat tightened reading those messages. Evidence that even while lying to her face, he'd been desperate to end the deception. Here. He leaned over, pointing to a message thread from 2 months ago. That's when I told Cho I wanted out. That the cost to my marriage was too high. She read Cho's response. 2 more months. We're close. Park has almost everything we need. If you pull out now, 18 months of work dies and those girls stay in cages. Can you live with that? Minute Ho's reply, no. But I might lose my wife over this. Not sure I can live with that either. Cho, she'll understand when it's over. Women always do when they learn their husband was a hero. Minute Ho, you clearly don't know my wife. Despite everything, Amara almost smiled. He was right. Cho didn't know her at all. Keep going, Minute Ho said quietly. The extraction details are near the end. She scrolled forward, finding the frantic messages from 3 nights ago. Park's cover blown. Emergency extraction needed. Minute Ho coordinating with NIS tactical teams while simultaneously getting Park out of immediate danger. The messages were terse, military precise, terrifying in their implications. Then a final message from Cho, sent yesterday. Park is safe. Evidence is solid. Raids scheduled for next week. Your involvement will remain classified. You have my gratitude and the gratitude of every girl we're about to save. Well done, Asset 17. Amara set the phone down with shaking hands. This is real. All of it. All of it, he confirmed. I can get you Deputy Director Cho's number if you want to verify. No. She looked up at him. I believe you. Something in his expression cracked. You do. The messages, the evidence, the way you've been tonight. She gestured helplessly. Either this is the most elaborate lie ever constructed, or it's the truth. And you're not that good a liar, Minute Ho. You've been miserable. I could see it even through my own pain. I have been. He slid off his chair, kneeling in front of her so they were eye level. Every single day. Watching you pull away, seeing the hurt in your eyes, knowing I was causing it but unable to stop. I've hated myself for months. You should have told me. The words came out broken. Even knowing the risks, you should have trusted me with the truth. You're right. His hands came up to frame her face. I should have. I won't make that mistake again. No more operations without your knowledge. No more lies, even well-intentioned ones. Complete transparency from now on. Your world doesn't work that way. Then I'll change my world. The conviction in his voice was absolute. I'll step back from operations. Delegate more. Whatever it takes to make sure I'm never in a position where lying to you feels like the only option. Amara searched his face, looking for deception and finding only desperate sincerity. The Kims will retaliate when the raids happen. Yes. We'll be targets. We're already targets. But I have plans in place. Increased security, safe houses, contingency protocols. His thumb stroked her cheekbones. I won't let anything happen to you. What about to you? Her voice broke. Who protects you while you're busy protecting everyone else? You do. He smiled slightly. You always have. Even when I didn't deserve it. Even when I was pushing you away for your own good like an idiot. You are an idiot. She covered his hands with hers. A self-sacrificing, hero complex having, terrible at communication idiot. Agreed. He leaned forward, resting his forehead against hers. But I'm your idiot. If you'll still have me. The ring on her finger caught the light again. The ring she'd never been able to remove, even when she'd had every reason to. Maybe her subconscious had known something her conscious mind couldn't accept. That the man she'd married was still in there, still fighting for them, still worth believing in. I'm still angry, she whispered. It's going to take time to rebuild what broke between us. I know. And if you ever lie to me again, I won't. His hands tightened on her face. Never again. I swear it. You better mean that. She pulled back enough to meet his eyes. Because I'm not doing this twice. This is your 1 second chance, Minute Ho. You don't get a third. I won't need one. He kissed her softly, carefully, like she might shatter. I'm going to spend the rest of my life proving you made the right choice in staying. Good. She kissed him back, tasting salt from tears she didn't remember crying. Because I'm holding you to that. When they finally broke apart, Minute Ho glanced at the suitcase still sitting by the door. Does that go back upstairs now? Amara followed his gaze, considering. The packed bag represented escape, safety, the easy way out. But she'd never been good at taking easy routes. It stays packed, she decided. Right there where I can see it. As a reminder. Of what? That I can leave anytime. She stood, pulling him up with her. And that I'm choosing not to. Every single day, I'm choosing you. Don't make me regret it. Never. He pulled her close, arms banding around her waist. Never again. She melted into his embrace, feeling months of tension finally release. They had a long way to go, trust to rebuild, wounds to heal, conversations to have. But for the first time in 8 months, Amara felt like they might actually make it. The ring on her finger caught the light one more time. She wasn't taking it off. Not tonight. Not ever.